What is going on, folk? It's NimbleThor here, and welcome back to my mobile gaming quest, where today we are playing King's Bounty Legions. And holy smoke, guys, I am excited for this one because this is the mobile game follow-up to the game that actually spawned the Heroes of Might and Magic series we all love so much. At least I do, and I know a lot of you guys really enjoy those games as well from back in the early 2000s on PC. Because you see, before Heroes of Might and Magic, there was just the Might of Magic games and then the King's Bounty game. But then Heroes of Might and Magic was King Bounty's gameplay, but then set in the Might and Magic universe. And oh my, it was amazing. I played Heroes of Might and Magic so much back in the day. And this is basically a mobile remake of the King's Bounty game. It's called King's Bounty Legions, but made for mobile. And instead of being made up of multiple smaller campaigns that we can choose to go into, this game is all one entire big campaign that we just play for however many hours it's going to take to finish, and then that's going to be it. There is a slight multiplayer aspect to the game as well. There's some slight PvP elements, but I wouldn't really recommend going into those because they are sadly kind of pay to win. But we're going to go into all of that good stuff later on. As you guys can see, this has most of the Heroes of Might and Magic gameplay elements to it. We've got this grid that we can run around on with our heroes. Some of our heroes are ranged. Some of those heroes, if they're too far away from an enemy, will only deal half damage, as you guys can see right now on the arrow that's kind of bent here. So we might want to walk a bit closer, but in this case, since it's the last hero over there, I just want to keep attacking it with our heroes here because I think we're going to win maybe in just, yeah, definitely next round we're going to win because then we're going to be able to walk close enough with our melee units here, and they're going to deal enough damage to take out that archer completely. That is nice. The connection between the games also explains why some of the audio, by the way, and music you will definitely recognize from Heroes of Might and Magic, because I assume that these developers got the right to use that, since the two games are completely connected to some extent anyway. Unlike Heroes of Might and Magic, though, most of our units can actually use skills during combat. I didn't really show you guys that in the combat we were in just before, but they can indeed use skills, and that's kind of awesome. So I'm gonna go show you guys that right now. So how about we move up here to the next section of the world map. As I explained, this is all just one big world map. I can zoom out a bit to give you guys an idea of just how big this world is. Look at this, so much good stuff to explore. But now let's go into one more combat before we go over some of the quests, some of the inventory systems, some of how we get new units, and so on, because I want to go show you guys the different skills and abilities that each of our heroes have available, because that really adds another layer of strategy to the combat, and I'm really liking that. Sadly, though, the castle building aspect from Heroes of Might and Magic is kind of gone in this game. So we have more strategy added to the combat itself, but we have some aspects of the strategy of building your cities removed from what you are used to from Heroes of Might and Magic. It doesn't ruin the game, it just changes the game quite a bit. So instead, the way we unlock new heroes, and I'm gonna go show you guys that after this combat here, is by simply purchasing new units at the cities that are located throughout the map that we randomly stumble into, or that we choose to go back and visit again. So for example, this one here has a healing skill. Can't really use that right now, of course, so we're gonna go for just the main attack, but that is the ability that this wizard currently has. So let's see what our archers have. They have, let's have a look at this one here. So this is an ice arrow, hits a common opponent with 20 to 14 damage and decreases his speed by 1. And that's in comparison to the normal attack dealing 40 to 60 damage as well. So this should be, okay, this is actually weaker, 20 to 40 instead of 40 to 60. So it's a weaker attack, but it's gonna freeze the opponent. So do we want to use that now? Let's just use it so you guys can see how that looks. Come on, with an ice arrow, there you go. Dealing less damage, but it may still be beneficial, especially if you're fighting larger monsters and your melee units are up close. So now let's see what skill this character has. This is a knockout blow, an attack that inflicts 160 to 180 damage. So that one actually deals more than the normal attack this hero can do. Sadly, we can't really reach any opponents. So I think I'm gonna go walk down here and help our villager down here, because he doesn't have any skills right now. He's kind of weak. We can move him over here though, or maybe we can just attack from down here if we can tap the attack button correctly. There we go. The UI is kind of small, and that's one of my main complaints with this game. It feels weird. On mobile, you would expect to see larger UI. You have to be very precise when you click on these buttons here, because sadly, they're just too small, and there's no way, by the way, to change that in the settings. Also, another difference between Heroes of Might and Magic and then this game, of course, is, and this may be kind of obvious, but we don't have a turn-based structure for the game itself. The combat is turn-based, as you guys have probably figured out already, but the actual game isn't. So our turn will keep going on forever, and that goes back to the whole idea about not having castle upgrades and so on. It's just one big campaign mission instead. Some of you guys might not like that, some of you might like that. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Again, honestly, I feel like it just changes the game. It doesn't really make it worse or better. It just makes for a different type of game than the original Heroes of Might and Magic game. One thing I am personally missing though from this system is that it means we don't have a normal multiplayer mode where I can play against friends in a campaign mission. That would be so awesome to have on mobile, especially now that the official Heroes of Might and Magic game for tablets has been removed both from iOS and from Google Play. It's completely gone now, so I'm sorry guys, if you bought that game, you won't be able to play it anymore. So we are really missing a true multiplayer Heroes of Might and Magic free game, preferably number 3. That was definitely the best of all of those Heroes of Might and Magic games, in my opinion. I've played number 4, number 5 as well. I've played the second game as well. None of them really compared to Heroes of Might and Magic 3, but maybe that's just my nostalgia. Let me know if you guys played that game as well. I guess we'll just have to keep looking. Sadly, even though this game has many of the elements I like from Heroes of Might and Magic 3, it is rather buggy. As I mentioned already, controlling our character can be difficult. Sometimes we have to tap twice to really reach those very, very, very tiny buttons. It doesn't feel optimized for mobile, and sometimes also we have to double-click buttons in order to actually activate them. And this issue has nothing to do with the small buttons. It's just that sometimes it seems we have to click twice to, for example, open a menu, close a menu, click OK, click finish a quest, and so on. And that is super frustrating. It feels like it wasn't really made for touch devices, even though this game is out on Android and iOS. It is out on PC as well, though, and I guess that maybe explains it. Maybe this game was actually made for Facebook, first and foremost, and then was ported to mobile. That is an advantage, though, because it means you can both play this game cross-play on both Android or iOS, for example, and then on PC via Facebook. So some of you guys might actually really enjoy that. Looks like we're losing a lot of units here in this match, so let's get this over with as fast as we can, and let's go back and see if we can recover some of them. And then we're gonna go into the monetization as the last step of showing off this game to you guys. So now that we're back here at the world map, there's a couple of things that we can do. First and foremost, we can go in here and we can acquire new units. What we can also do is we can go over to the infirmary, and here we'll be able to heal our units. So we may just want to do that, heal for 140 each. Look at this UI, by the way, exactly like Heroes of Might and Magic. And we may want to do that for these guys as well. What's nice here is that there's no wait time. We don't have to, wait a horrible amount of time for each of these units to heal, which you would see in a typical mobile game. Now, that doesn't mean that the game does not monetize rather heavily. The in-app purchases do go all the way up to $100. As you guys can see in here, if we want to acquire some diamonds, which can then be used if we go in here to the cash shop, the royal shop, which can be used to acquire new boosters, new units directly even, which is kind of unfortunate, and also new items, new spells over here. So lots of stuff that will make the game easier, and it will definitely make the PvP pay to win. Sadly, it'll ruin that aspect of the game, but I still think this game is worth playing for its single player content, and in that case you don't really have to spend any real life money on the game, and you won't feel forced to do so either, because luckily at least there's no energy system in this game. Luckily. I mean, that would definitely ruin a game like this, but sadly many games do add energy systems. So what we can do here in this town that we're in is that we can, for example, buy some of these pilgrims here, which are the wizards that we used in the match just before. So we can buy those for 4,000 gold each. If we move down here to the other city that we were in just before, we will then be able to buy other types of heroes. So if you go in here, you guys can see that we can buy the archers instead down here, for example. So in this game, you'll be going back and forth between these settlements constantly to buy new units, complete quests, and so on. So that's basically it for the game. We have an inventory system as well, where we can equip artifacts or items, just like in Heroes of Might and Magic 3 on PC, and then we have a workshop over here where we can craft certain items. That is basically it for the game. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. I think it's definitely worth playing for its single player. I wouldn't get into the multiplayer because that is surely pay to win, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And now it's time for the mobile gaming news of the day, which is that Candy Crush developer King's San Francisco studio has now been closed down by Activision Blizzard, who owns King, in case you didn't know. This comes shortly after the Seattle studio was closed in 2018, costing 78 jobs, and back in February 2017, the company's South Korean location had to close down as well because Candy Crush never really made it into the top 10 best earning games charts in Asia. So a step back for the master of match-free games, but most likely they're not really going anywhere anytime soon because their games do still earn a lot of money here in the West. So with that said, guys, thank you for sticking around till the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, hit the notification bell so you receive the updates, because that's just YouTube here in 2019. But most importantly, until next time, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around.